Hi everyone, my name's Simon and welcome to Walking with Whitey. In this episode it's going to be broken into two parts. The first part is going to be inside again because the weather's not great outside, and then the second part of this episode will be done outside at a later date. In this episode I'm going to do a first look at my new tent. Now there's no more beating around the bush with this tent. I've gone straight in at the deep end. Today we take a first look at the Hilleberg Soulo red label and the optional footprint. Now before we dive into looking at the Hilleberg Soulo, I just want to talk about my tent journey so far. I've moved over to this side of the screen because I'm hoping with the power of technology I can put some pictures up here. I haven't been hiking and wild camping that long, however I have had quite a few tents already. So I just wanted to talk about the journey so far and give you my reasoning to why I've got to where I have now. Okay, so the first ever tent that I bought when I was starting out was the OEX Bobcat one. Now I bought this tent because it was cheap, it was one man, and it looked like a decent tent to start with. And to be fair, it wasn't that bad. I took it out for one night and pitched it up, but one thing I noticed about it straight away, it was just a one-person tent. There was no one plus or anything like that. So once you put an inflatable sleeping pad in there, there was no room inside for anything else, and the vestibule was tiny. So what I took away from that tent is that I needed at least a 1 plus. So moving forward from then, I stuck with the OEX range and I went with the Fox 2. Now I did like this tent. It was a decent size and a decent weight. But again, I came to a decision from owning that tent that I wanted an outer pitch first. So that led me on to my next tent, which was the Van Gogh Helium Ultralight 2. So again, that ticked all the boxes. It's a 1 plus. It was an outer pitch first. It wasn't that weighty, and it was actually quite a decent tent. But again, what I found out from that tent is that I needed something sturdier. So from the Helium, I then moved to the Durston X Mid 1 Solid. The reason I went for this one was it was light, it was roomy, had 2 vestibules and it was roomy inside, and it was a trekking pole tent, and I do use trekking poles for when I'm up the hills. But one thing that it's not that I didn't like about it, but one thing that I kept on going back to was having poles and being outer pitch first. And then I ordered the X-Dome. Now I absolutely love the X-Dome. I've used it a few times now. I love the weight of it. I love how rigid it is, and it can take a bit of a battering. So I'm sticking with the X-Dome for my 3-season, 1 plus, outer pitch, lightweight tent. So that's how I got to the X-Dome. After the X-Dome, I then started to think about winter tents. Now the first one I got, if anyone who's following my channel will see, the first one I got was the Optimus Nomad X-Lite 4-season tent. Now for what you pay for that, it is an extremely good tent. It's well built, it's well designed for the most part. Those people who know the Optimus tent know about the sleeves on top, you know, and the small pockets, and it's only a single zip, not a double zip. But apart from that, for the money you pay, it was really good. However, I have seen some videos of the tent having issues in really strong weather, and I have seen firsthand from other people who have had it little bits of it breaking, unsticking, bending where it shouldn't bend. I am a cautious camper. So with those things in the back of my mind, I thought, right, I'm going to bite the bullet now. I'm going to go with what's widely recognised as one of the best 4-season tents that you can get. And that's led me onto the Hilleberg Soulo. So with all those tents that have come and gone, I have stuck with the X-Dome for my 3-season, and I now have the Hilleberg Soulo for the winter. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a first look. We're going to open the bag, going to open the footprint bag, have a good look at it, and then when the weather gets better, either in the garden or when I'm out hiking next, which I'm hoping will be very soon, I'll do a setup out in the open. So this is how it came through the post. The tent itself came from a different supplier than the footprint. I got the tent from Alpine Trek and the footprint from Taunton Leisure. The pack size, the length is approximately 50 centimeters on the tent and the width is 25 centimeters. The combined weight of the tent and the footprint is 2.63 kilograms. Opening the tent bag then, this is what you're met with. So you have the actual tent itself with the inner and outer fly at the top. 3 sets of 9mm poles and 12 6-inch DAC pegs. Now it is worth saying at this point that obviously when you take the poles out, the tent will pack down a lot smaller than the measurements that I gave you just a minute ago. So the fly fabric is Curlon 1200 30D tenacity ripstop nylon. The fly treatment is coated on both sides with a total of 3 layers of 100% silicone and treated for UV resistance during dyeing and coating. The fly has a hydrostatic head rating of 5,000 millimeters, and the floor inside hydrostatic head rating of 15,000 millimeters. The tear strength is 12 kilograms, and the inner tent fabric is made out of 30 denier ripstop nylon. And the inner tent treatment is durable water repellent. The poles are 9mm thick, and you've got 2 at 344 centimeters and 1 at 285 centimeters. And you get your 12 V-shape DAC pegs. So that's the specifications off the Hilleberg website. That's it for the first part of this episode. Now I'm really looking forward to getting this out and getting it up and putting the footprint on for the first time and testing it out in anger. I'm hoping to do that very soon. So the next thing that you'll see on this episode is me outside messing around with this tent. Welcome to part 2 of the first look at the Hilleberg Soulo. We've already gone through the specs inside. Now the weather's better, let's go and pitch it up and have a look at it. One thing I do want to say at this point as well, I have actually used the Soulo in anger. You'll see it in a later episode, but I took it up the Malvern Hills and I was experiencing winds of up to 35 miles an hour, gusts, and rain coming in sideways. So it has been tested and it performed really well. But I just wanted to let you know that, because when I set it up, you'll see that the footprint is already installed, and I did that up on the Malverns. Okay, so first of all, the poles itself. You get 3 poles, 2 are the same length, and the one that's got the red on the ends is a little bit shorter, and that'll become more apparent a little bit later on. As you can see, also they're all pre-bent. So when you first take it out of the packet, don't panic. They're supposed to be like that. I did read up on it, trust me. Okay, so the poles are extended and they're all sitting properly. The next thing we do is get the tent out itself. So here you've got the outer fly, the inner fly, and the footprint all together. So for setup, what you're looking for is the sleeves for the poles in each corner. So in this corner, you've got a white one. And if you go to the opposite corner, you'll see that there's a white one in the opposite corner. If you go to the other corner, you've got blue. And then the opposite corner, you've got blue again. So they all match. And then when you come to the centre pole itself, you've got red on one side and red on the other, and that's for the pole that's got the red tape on it. Right, so first off we're going to do the two long poles corner to corner. So first off, the white sleeve, push it all the way down. There's a nice thick leather pouch at the bottom, so push it right down into there. Go to the opposite corner and do exactly the same. Let that go for a second. Now to the blue corners. Make sure it's all the way down to the bottom. And that's the two long poles. Next we get the short pole. Into the red pouch or sleeve. So as you can see, this forms the basis of the tent. And again, what I do like about this tent is the fact that you can build it up from the bottom in windy conditions. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to clip it up from the bottom up to the top. Again, as you're building this up, if it is windy conditions, once you've done the first set, you can wrap the guy around, which I'll show you in a minute, and you can peg the guy out so it gives it a nice sturdy feel. All these clips just clip into place so well. They just fit really well. Another feature that you can do with this tent is called double poling. So you can get another set of these poles and they'll fit down this sleeve, and you can see the clips here, they clip on alternate sides. So you've got that one going that way, that one going that way, that one going that way. So as you clip it up, you can clip this one onto this one, for example, and then that one onto the pole that's next to it. And it just gives the tent that extra bit of rigidity for really adverse weather, which is a really cool feature. So the next thing to do once it's all clipped into place is the roof itself. It already comes pre-attached on two sides like this, and it's just a case of flipping it over and clipping it down on the opposite sides. So that's where the roof clips into, and you can see it's fully adjustable. On all four, you can adjust them. That's it set up. Obviously, I'm not going to guy it out, there's no need to, but there's 2 guys on each part of the pole structure. So you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 guy out points. You've also got 6 peg out points along the bottom. So it makes for a really sturdy tent. And as you can see, the fly sheet goes all the way to the bottom. Right, let's open it up and have a look inside. Straight away, you've got a red toggle here at the bottom that the zip goes into, so it stops the zip from riding up. But you've got thick metal YKK zips that go bottom to top, but also inside there, I'll show you when we're inside, you can zip it from the top to the bottom, which does provide some ventilation for this tent. So let's just open it up now. Roll up the door. And there it is, an elasticated strap with a toggle. So this is what you get inside. The vestibule is a good size. You can fit your backpack in there, and you've also got room to cook. I am speaking from experience with that. The footprint is down, as you can see, and it covers pretty much the whole of the vestibule. And inside you've got a T-shaped zip for the inner fly, all YKK metal zips. So let's open them up now. So the size of the inside of this tent, it is a 1+. You can fit 1 person plus kit inside, which is a good size, which is the perfect size that I'm after. And it's just the ground fly, like we went through the specs, and the ground sheet, they're just so thick and good quality. It's unbelievable. So we go inside, we have 2 pockets which are plenty big enough for personal belongings. You do have little material hooks, 1, 2, 3, which I will put a bit of a washing line up there in time. And that is all you have inside. But that is all you need. One thing I do want to show you is, if you could see here, I'm trying to get the camera angle right, so I do apologise. It doesn't have a lot of ventilation in this tent. It's a 4-season, you know, they don't really have a lot. But what this does do is, if I go up here, the YKK zip goes down. If you do it down as far as this black line here, and there's another zip that goes all the way down and stops there, you can then roll this bit up, and you can just see it gives you enough room to keep you waterproof, but it gives you enough for air to come in. And if you really wanted to as well, sorry about the bins out the front there, you can put it right down and get more ventilation if the wind is in the right direction. But up here, it does give you all of that, which is good. Okay, so we're inside, fully zipped up now. And as you can see here, you can either go from the top down on the center zip, which gives you a little bit of ventilation. But what I really do like is this bit here. So this goes all the way down to the floor. Okay, so you unzip it, and as you can see there, you've now got a mesh which then goes through to the ventilation out there. So that does minimize some condensation. Not saying it's going to stop the lot, because that's pretty much impossible in a 4-season tent, but it does mitigate some of the condensation factors, which I really do like about this tent. So as per all of my tent first look reviews, the only way I gauge the size of the inside of this tent and whether it's good enough for me is I break out my favourite sleeping pad. So I'm going to get the Big Agnes Rapide SL regular wide out, pump it up, put it inside and see what room we've got to work with. Here we are, proof is in the pudding. So here's the sleeping pad all blown up, and as you can see here, you've got at its widest part there, I'd say about a foot of clearance, so you can fit lots of dry bags worth of kit down the side there. And if you look down the end, I'd say again, you've got about a foot there for kit. So for one person, backpacking, hiking, wild camping, you stop for the night, all your dry kit that's inside your backpack, along there easy, along there. Your backpack and any wet stuff in here, and you can cook on this bit here. So absolutely perfect size for one person and all their kit. I'm sat on the sleeping pad now and I'm sat up straight. I'm about 5'9", 5'10", and as you can see here, you've probably got about that much head clearance, so not a great deal, but if you wanted to sit up in the night, in fact, I'm not central here, it's central just about here, so you probably got a little bit more, but there's enough for you to sit up, there's enough for you to move around and do what you need to do in here when it's all closed off. One thing I did forget to mention about the outside of this tent is there is actually a little rain gutter here. So if you've got heavy rain coming down, it all catches and it will go down here and it ends here, and I guess it's supposed to fall off there and down there without going into the tent itself. I've yet to experience that. I'll let you know as and when I do, but that's a nice little feature too. So there we have it. That is the Hilleberg Soulo red label. Let's just have one more walk round so you can have a good look at it. So my final thoughts on this tent. Like I said before, I have used it since making this episode. When you're putting yourself in situations that could be a little bit hairy, you know, adverse weather, for example, you need that confidence in your mind that you've got the best equipment that you can possibly have. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to be paying for this tent for quite a few months to come. But with the winter coming and what I've got planned, I'm glad I've done it. I'm hoping to do a few more trips into North Wales. I'm even hoping to get down to Dartmoor to do a few more tours. And I might, if I can, do my first trip up to the Lake District. So with all those in mind, I do really need a good sturdy tent, and I believe I found it. It's not that heavy in terms of 4-season tents. I think in total this is 2.6 kilograms, which isn't bad for what you get and the security that comes with it. And all the materials are just, you know, again, on a different level, and it just oozes sturdiness. Really easy to pitch. And there is a set way of pitching it in high winds as well, which again gives you more confidence to go out in those conditions. I think that's it. I think that's all I've got to say for now. I hope you like this first look at the tent, and I hope you liked the episode. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe. Like I said, I've got plenty of hiking, backpacking and wild camping adventures planned, and I hope to bring you along with them as well. So take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.